and welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. I'm Damian Dennis, and I'm joined this week by Emily Marino, softball coach.
Yep.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You'll hear it later, but I keep making the joke third time's a charm. It's
Yeah.
only the second time with
Second.
you.
Yep. No problem.
So hopefully everything works well, and we can
Yep.
get this episode,
Yep.
kind of out the gate.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about softball. You're about midway, so-ish through the season. Very up and down year so far. 10 and 14 overall. But it kind of doesn't feel like it. It almost feels like you should be 500, maybe a little bit over. And it seems like when your bats are going, the whole team's going. But then, if they're cold, then everybody's cold,
Yep. Yep.
So I just kind of want to ask to start, how do you feel about where your team's at right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think we continue to improve and make progress, and that's where we want to be right now. Is that we're learning. I have a lot of freshmen that have never played college ball, and it's important for them to get experience, and there's going to be some bumps in the road with that. And just give them opportunities to continue to grow, and I think that's what we're doing, and we're seeing some growth and we're seeing improvement. And with our bats, yeah, they can be hot and they can be cold. When they're hot, we're on and just trying to get our defense on board and our pitching. So it seems like our bats are going, but our defense isn't, or our defense is great and then our bats are cold. So we're just working on that and trying to all get on the same page.
Yeah. How do you kind of get that consistency between, let's say, all three phases? Because you need the pitching to be, playing up to par. You need the defense to be up to par, and you need the bats to be up to par all at the same time.
Yep, and I think that's why we play so many games. So I think being able to play consistently, it's been a little bit of a challenge with the weather. But I think, we have 32 games, I think, in 30 days here. So we'll be playing a lot and hopefully be playing often, and I think that helps with trying to get on board and then just letting them learn. They're going to make mistakes and errors are going to happen, and but just that we're not repeating those. Or again, I think important piece too is we work with Scott on the mental side of the game, and a lot of the mistakes that we make are on the mental side. So that really helps us out as well.
How beneficial is it to have someone like Scott on staff who is talking to your players, kind of helping them get through some of those mental hurdles?
Yeah, it's made a big difference for the program, and since we've started working with Scott a couple years ago, every year I think it just gets better and better, and the players really, really buy in, and you can see them doing their breathing, before the games and, before they're at bats and their visualization, and they really buy into what he has a great blueprint, and they buy into it, and the results are there. I think, our players are able to handle when they make a mistake, bouncing back, and we talk about that, and so it's been huge for us.
How do you kind of build consistency, both with the mental aspect, with the on the field stuff, whether it's defense, pitching, or offense? What are some of the things you do to kind of help build the consistency amongst the players?
Yeah, I think just keeping our routine is important, and what we do, our practices, and what we do at practice, so that they're getting the skills that they need in at practice. So they're getting their swings in, they're getting their reps in, and then playing. Given the opportunity to play and get out there and playing consistently, I think helps with that. But I think right now it's just about learning and growing. As we move along, and we just want to continue to get better each time we get out on the field, because we want to be at our best in May. It's okay not to be at our best right now, but we want to be at our best in May, and that's what we're working towards.
Is it hard to build some of that consistency when the weather has been the way it is?
Yeah.
Because obviously, you have a game scheduled, but the weather impacts it. It gets canceled, postponed, rescheduled, whatever.
Yep.
How much of an impact does the weather have in building that consistency?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. The weather plays a big role in it, but again, we talk about controlling what we can control, and we can't control the weather, and so we just got to figure out ways to continue to work at what we need to work on, and stay positive, and we just got to find ways to, when we play, we really get after it. So.
So at this point in the season, again, we've kind of touched on all this stuff already, but at this point in the season, how do you feel about where the team's at? some of the positives outside of just kind of building consistency and whatnot. Just maybe some of those student athletes who are really kind of showing you
Yeah.
what they can be as the season
Yeah.
progresses.
I think the sophomore group has been great. They've been stepping up and being leaders. You have Ari and Sin on the mound, who have been doing a great job of leading our pitching staff, and then we have Bella behind the plate, who's really stepped up and really helped out with the freshmen, as well as Katie Johnske, our center fielder and returner, and we have Brooke in the outfield as well. So that's been huge to have that leadership, and then freshmen, I have a big freshman class, and I could probably list quite a few of them, but, Kerrigan Copes has been, really steady at the plate and consistent, hitting the ball well. Skylar Welcome has been doing great, defense, and, hitting the ball well. And then Elena Marino, she's helping out on the mound and really swinging the bat consistently. Sam's been doing a great job at shortstop, Sam Rios, and then her bat's really come along. She's really made some nice improvements. I could keep going on and on. I have a great freshman class that I'm really excited about, and they're doing a great job. Leah Herkel is another one. I mean, as I sit here and think, she's been really in the lineup almost all the time, and has been doing a great job.
And these are all names that I've seen in the box scores and the results. So none of these names surprise me. But I did want to ask kind of about the freshmen. Obviously many of them haven't played college softball, or at least have been around college softball until they've gotten here. How have they acclimated to kind of this new environment, this new routine?
Yeah, I think they're hard on themselves. The freshmen are competitors, and they want to get out there and they want to do the best they can. So it's our job as a coaching staff to really continue to encourage them, kind of get them out of their head. Again, that's kind of what with working with Scott and getting them to understand that there's going to be some growing pains, and not to be so hard on themselves. So we have a little sometimes individual conversations with them and really try to keep their keep them positive, and I think that they're starting to see they're starting to get experience and see the growth that they've had and moving beyond some of that. So they're a great group to work with.
What are you hoping to see moving forward? Obviously, we can kind of guess the answer to this, but still, I'm going to ask you. What are you hoping to see as the season progresses and you start making that push to play your best ball come postseason?
Yeah. Obviously, we'd like to see wins, but I think the most important thing is just to see our team continue to, improve so that we're learning. We play tough schedule, so, like you said, it seems like we'll go up and then we're just playing really good competition, and I think that makes us better. So that makes us battle-tested for the postseason and gets us ready to play for the playoffs, and they buy into that, and they talk about that a lot, staying together and just continuing to improve. So, we obviously want to see wins, but at the end of the day, that's not the only thing we're working towards.
Yeah. And you said there's about 32 games left in 30 days, so a full month's worth of softball left to be played. How do you kind of help them keep their composure, and their stamina, their morale up, all those things?
Yeah, and that's, again, we talk about, we're really good at pulling numbers. We talk about, like, quality at bats, so it's not always, did they get a hit or didn't they get a hit? Did they see 6 pitches or more? Or did they get a walk? Did they, work a count? Those type of things. Did they do a sacrifice? Did they, move a runner over? So more than just looking at, like, black and white, get a hit or not a hit. So those are the type of things that we focus on, and did we win the inning? We talk a lot about getting their leadoff out. These are all goals of ours. So having little goals like that help, that then they can see that, they're doing those well.
Yeah. And how do you feel about just, you've mentioned this already a little bit too, but your sophomore leaders on the team, have they kind of responded to the leadership role you've kind of, they kind of get thrust into it by being the second-year returners, but additionally, how have they responded by kind of like you looking at them as that leader.
Yeah, no, I think they've responded well, and I think they've taken ownership of it, kind of even without me kind of encouraging, where they've, taken a leadership role, and they're talking with the freshmen and how the season is, or talking after an at bat, or talking after a game, and letting them know, hey, it's okay. You're going to do better, and they've done that on their own without even me prompting them. So they've really been great as far as just encouraging the freshmen and kind of being a role model for them and being someone that they can lean on.
Yeah, I know you don't have the schedule in front of you, and you probably can't remember everybody coming up on it, but who are some teams that are on the schedule coming up that you may have circled just like, hey, this is kind of going to be a good benchmark for us. Our performance here is going to kind of show me where we need to be moving forward.
Obviously College of DuPage. I think we play them in a couple weeks, so that's always a big one for us because that's the other team in our division, and so I think playing them, we always have that date circled. It's always a good competition between our programs. Both are great programs, so I look forward to that. And then from there, I having a hard time remember because I know we play Wabanzi, I know we play Moraine. We're playing Milwaukee tomorrow. They're a solid program, so playing those teams, I think that helps us. Playing Madison College. I know we play Triton. Those are some really tough teams in Division II. We just played Kankakee, so we're playing really good teams, and I think that just makes us better.
Right. All right, Emily. Well, I appreciate you taking the time again, second time today, to record with
No
me.
problem.
But up next here on Coffee with the Wolves, we have Katie Johnske. And again, thanks,
Awesome.
Emily.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
And next up here on Coffee with the Wolves, I'm joined by Katie Johnske.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So third time's a charm, right?
Yep.
We keep running into technical issues with this recording, so we've had the same. This will be the third time we've had the same conversation now.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Practice, right?
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about the softball season and just the kind of gauge where the team's at this point, where you're at this point, and just expectations moving forward. So to start, overall record 10-14, kind of an up and down season. But when you guys are hot, you're hot. When you're cold, you're cold. And throughout all previous two times we've recorded this, the key, I guess, the key word has been consistency.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about consistency and how you build it?
Yeah. Well, there's some days where we hit and we get run after run after run, or there's games where our defense is on top. And, there's also games where we don't do so hot, and I think that's because we're not really consistent. And as soon as we get our consistency up, and I think that starts during practice and, building our intensity and getting that up there so that we're ready for games, then we'll be fine.
How do you kind of think building that consistency happens? Is it kind of building more chemistry amongst the team? Is it becoming more confident in your, just your abilities out on the field? Combination of those things?
I think we have chemistry. I think it's mostly being confident within ourselves and believing that, we are good players. And there's some days where we're mentally not there. And I think that's a big key, is to make sure you're mentally there, you're in the game, and that's what builds it.
How do you think you kind of get over those mental hurdles?
I'm not sure. Just, I guess before the games, think about what's gonna happen in the game, and that helps. I guess sometimes I visualize myself hitting or making plays in the field, and I think that builds my confidence so that when I do go into the game, then I'm more consistent in the game.
Yeah. Your play this year has been pretty good, let's be frank. You're batting .389 right now. I know the last time I mentioned that, you said, I thought it was higher. Just went lower.
Yeah, it was at 4 something, and then I had one game where I struck out, so it was it went down.
5 stolen bases. You also said that should be higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about your performance so far this season?
I think I've had a pretty good year so far. I do think, like I said, everybody else can also. I can also be more consistent. I'm working on it, though. I have been, putting in the work and trying to work towards being a better player, and I think I'm getting there.
Yeah. How Let's go back to the spring, earlier in the spring anyway. I guess it's still spring. But, earlier in the season, you guys went on that trip to Florida, finished 1-6. But despite, kind of the end result, it was still kind of a good experience both on the field and as a team.
Yeah.
What do you take away from that trip?
It definitely brought us closer as a team. We definitely got, builded some chemistry and everything. Even though we lost a lot of the games, I think it definitely did make us want to win more. As soon as we got back, we were ready to win. But I think it was a good experience. Not obviously playing, but, it was okay.
How do you feel about where this team's at right now?
I think we're at a pretty good place right now. We have a lot of games coming up, so that's really going to show where we're at. But, a lot of the freshmen, there's a lot of talent on this team, so I think we're going to make it far.
And I know I've asked you this will be the third time already, but the roster has grown from last year. Last year you were a very small, kind of close-knit team. This year you've got a larger roster, more teammates.
Yeah.
It kind of how difficult, if at all, was it to build chemistry with all the newcomers?
I honestly don't think it was difficult. A lot of people knew each other from, school or, playing on teams together. So a lot of people already knew each other. We just kind of had to, put our little groups together. And we did that, I want to say, Cocoa Beach really brought everybody together. Yeah. And since then, we've just been going. Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit. I always ask this. I've asked you it again. I'm going to keep making this joke because we've had this conversation so many times. But how did you come into playing the sport of softball? I keep doing that too. Playing softball, and what led you to come to JJC?
My siblings played softball. My older sister played softball before me, so that kind of made me want to do it. So I've been playing softball for 9 years now, or 10 years now. And to come here, it's close to home. I really like how the school is, and my sister went here as well. She played on the team, so just decided to come here.
And what about JJC outside of, I guess, the family relation and whatnot? What else kind of brought you here? Campus, coaches, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the campus is really nice. It's close to home, and I love the way the coaches coach. I think they're really great coaches.
And your major?
Scenography.
Yeah. And how are you liking that?
So far, I'm not in the program yet, but I'm still taking the classes I need to be in it. But I'm really excited to get into that next year.
What are some of those classes?
Anatomy, psychology. Well, I'm not sure if psychology is part of that. It might be just a gen ed, but I know I have to take some more math classes, and right now I'm in bio. So
that's cool. And we'll come back to softball now, but I wanted to ask. The weather kind of impacts the schedule a lot. You may have a game scheduled for one day, suddenly it's gone, but now you have another game scheduled for a day you had off. Yeah. How do you kind of adjust to the ever-changing schedule of softball?
I feel like all of us, we've all played softball for a long time, so we're kind of used to the weather being a big impact on our games. But you just got to be ready to play any day, and yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of expectations do you have for this team moving forward?
I think we're gonna have a really great rest of the season. I feel like if we, like I said, get up our intensity and just stay consistent, that we're gonna be fine.
And if you could grade your own performance up to this point, what would you give it?
Out of 10, 1
yeah,
out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8 because I feel like I have been a good team leader, and I have been, trying to push everybody to be a better player. But there's days where I have my off days, so I wouldn't give myself a 10.
What does it mean to you to be kind of a leader on this team?
I'm always cheering people on. I'm always encouraging everybody to be better. I'm there if anybody ever needs me. A lot of people come to me to talk to me about anything that they have concerns about, and I think a lot of them look up to me, and I really love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Katie, I appreciate you joining me here for Coffee with the Wolves. We'll be back next week. I don't even know what we're talking about next week. Hopefully this system works.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.